Professor Jay, would you like me to make those now?
Sure. Yes, we can kick off.
All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, scholars. So great to see you on this Thursday evening, I guess I can say. Yes, on this Thursday evening. I can't believe we're already back here. It seems like very quick days. So I just wanted to make a few announcements. So when we did the assessment on Tuesday, you all did really well. I did see areas of growth, which is a good thing because that means that there will be some gain. There will be some knowledge gain through this program. So I just encourage you to have your notebooks out, take some notes as you continue to engage with Professor JR today. I also wanted to let you know on Thursdays, we are going to do what we call assessment days. And so in the program, the way the program is structured, we do leave a buffer time of 8 to 8:30 for you all to stay behind if you want to talk to us. And we did do that with a scholar the other night. But we also will use that time to buffer the assessment time. So should we need an extra 10 to 15 minutes after 8 o'clock, just so we can do you all's assessments, please bear with us. And then the good thing is, as soon as you're done with your assessment, you can leave. It should take not a lot of time. So I just wanted to give you all that insight so you kind of know what to expect on Thursdays, because it's, because of the assessment, it's going to be a little bit different in terms of timing, but we will get you up and out as soon as we can. So with that, I'll pass it to Professor JR. Have a great session, everyone. Great class.
All right. Okay. All right. I see a few folks having some camera issues. Thank you for letting us know. But yeah, we are definitely encourage everyone that can have your cameras on, participate during the class. I personally, will try to mix it up, whether I'm asking you to throw something in the chat or come off mute, so on and so forth. The goal is, to have interaction so that way it's not just me talking. You guys can ask questions. We can break down problems together. So tonight we are going to do a quick recap of the first class. Then we're going to go into the entrepreneurship mindset a bit. Well, not the mindset. I'm not trying to steal your thunder, Miss C. we're going to go a bit
Tell me anything.
It's such a catchy term. I keep saying it. But we're going to go into entrepreneurship a bit more. And specifically, we're going to look at profit and loss. So that way, either we get introduced to what a P&L is, aka profit loss statement, or if you're familiar with it, we'll just talk about it a bit more. And then we will also touch on the value proposition canvas. So class one, we went over the business model canvas, which for me is like a foundational document to get your ideas out of your head for your business idea. And then the value proposition canvas, it zooms in on how do you deliver value to your potential customers, right? So those two templates will close out this week in terms of going over it. And then you can work on it for the next few weeks, right? So by the end of this course, you should be emailing to us your business model canvas and your value proposition canvas by the end of this course. Like whatever draft you end up with over the next few weeks, it's not going to be graded or anything, but we just want to have you go through the exercise of filling them out, and then we can talk about it, right? Like, see if you have questions that, like, as you filled it out, was there anything that you learned? Were you able to solidify your idea a little more? Does it make sense? And then for those that go to the advanced S.O.A.R bootcamp, we will work from the value proposition and business model canvas for that course, where at the end of that course, you have to present a bit more. So for this course, value proposition canvas, business model canvas, filled out, and you will do an elevator pitch. So the elevator pitch is like your end of course presentation, right? So you don't need to create a slide deck because the elevator pitch is meant to be a minute or less, or 1 to 2 minutes, let's say. It's meant for you to just really share who are you, what is your business idea? Why do you feel it's important or beneficial? And how can we learn more, right? So we kind of end the fundamentals with that. So you at least have that foundation, right, of sharing, speaking, public speaking, or speaking to other individuals is going to be very important as a as someone in a business or a business owner, right? An entrepreneur. If you're in a business, most likely you're going to have to talk to people, unless you're in cybersecurity where you're just on a computer looking at who's, making sure the network is safe. But if you're going to be in a customer facing business, you're going to have to talk to people, even if you're working at a fast food restaurant or store, right? So public speaking is something that we just touch on with the end of course. There will be a specific class towards the end where it's all about putting your pitch, your elevator pitch together. So that will help you as well. Any questions with those high level items that I went over, the canvases or end of course? Go ahead, Stinga.
So I was looking at the business model Canvas final project thing, and I had a question about that. Instead of like making a document, can I instead like make a slideshow deck so it's easier for me to organize it?
Absolutely. However you want to fill it out. Yeah.
And can I add like pictures or images, or is that not allowed? I don't know the specifics.
No, you can, right? So it's completely open to you guys to fill it out how you want. So not a problem at all.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? All right. So let's get going. Let's get going. So fundamentals of entrepreneurship. We I like to drop in some entrepreneurs of the past, and I'll ask you guys to share some entrepreneurs of the present. But does anyone know who this woman is? Has anyone seen this picture before? So this is Madam C.J. Walker. She was the first Black woman to become a millionaire in the United States of America. And the quote from her here, don't sit down and wait for the opportunities to come, get up and make them, right? So if you were to Google Madam C.J. Walker and look into her story, and there was a movie on Netflix. I forgot what the title of the movie was, but there is a movie about her on Netflix. You could probably just Google Madam C.J. Walker or C.J. Walker movie and it'll come up. But she took it upon herself and really pushed to make her vision, her business come to life. And just to give a quick summary, she saw a need. She saw a need that no one was addressing. So oftentimes that is a good opportunity, right? If you have a solution to a need that no one is addressing, right? So a lot of businesses or business owners or entrepreneurs find success this way. They're like, hey, I'm going to solve this problem that everyone's ignoring or no one figured out yet, right? So check it out, check her out. She's a great inspiration for someone who had, who didn't have a lot of money to start with or anything and just kind of built her way. All right, so the quick review part I was talking about, we talked about the goods producing sector and including all businesses that produce tangible goods, right? If you're in the goods producing sector, you're like Michael here, who's giving you something to walk away with. We talked about the service producing sector, which includes all businesses that produce services but don't make tangible goods, right? As you get into forming your business, for those that move on to that portion, they'll be, just good to know this so you can do your research, right? And understand where you are in the market. Who here has I believe a couple people did start a business. Someone's doing crochet. And there was like a few others, right? I think Layla was doing the crochet. What are some of the businesses that folks got into again? You could drop it in the chat. And then we also talked about small business versus big business. Does anyone remember how many employees is what's the threshold? So if you break this number, you're now a large business. What's that threshold number? Does anyone remember for the employee count? Books, yes. 12,000? Nope, nope. All right, so we got 500 is the answer. So 500 employees or more, you're a big business. 500 employees less, you're a small business. 7 million was the number for annual revenue or annual receipts. So so there is a such thing called the Small Business Administration. I want you guys to write that down. So SBA, right? Small Business Administration. Um, the Small Business Administration is important to know because they provide a lot of resources for people to get started in business. So you may qualify for an SBA grant, you may qualify for SBA loan, right? The difference with the grant is you don't have to pay that back. So you just have to fall into certain requirements and categories, and they might grant you some money to say, hey, we're looking for people to build AI solutions. You might fall into, or we're looking for people to help with recycling, right? If your business falls into a category, you might be able to get a grant from them. But they also have small business loans, right? And the way the small business loans is, typically they try to give you a better interest rate, right? Understanding you're a small business, and they have certain caps on how much they might lend you. But then they have a lot of free resources too. So the SBA, Small Business Association, usually has state level affiliates where you can get courses or get to meet individuals, network, and things like that. So definitely good to know of the Small Business Administration. And another thing, a motto that I have, and I'm surprised I didn't say it in the first class. Who here has heard the term or motto, your network is your net worth? Has anyone heard that before? Your network is your net worth. Ali, can you share like what's the meaning behind that when it comes to business? Your network is your net worth?
Your network
Or
is
how?
worth. I would say that that's like what you make is what you can possibly gain. Like the more and more you put in, it would be the more and more that contributes to how much you are and how much people can actually use you and pay you too.
Yeah, that's definitely on track there, right? Um, so the network I'm referring to is literally networking with other people, right? So the more people you know, or the more people, I guess, in the way that you're saying it, Ali, like the more people you're connected to, the more people that can actually pour into you or pour into your business, right? And in a lot of ways, to have a successful business, you have to develop some kind of network, right? So that network could be a network of customers, or it could be a network of partners, or mix, right? People that will support your business, people that can help you connect to another resource that you may need. So someone might say, hey, I know a great bank that's really awesome for small businesses. They have this program to help you out, right? Network. Or they might say, hey, your solution could help 1,000 people that I know over here in this group, and they connect you to that group, right? So your network is your net worth. For me, it's really saying like, you want to develop a network, you want to be a part of the network, so that way there's a value exchange there, right? So you should be contributing to that network, right? You might provide some knowledge or some insight or some help, right? And oftentimes it's reciprocal, right? You help others, they will in turn help you or spread the word about what you're working on. All right, so we touched on getting, these items here: vision statement, mission statement, business model canvas. And these were just some starter items to get you going, right? So the vision statement and mission statement, the goal of these two things is really to help you find your North Star, right? So your guiding light for why you're doing what you're doing should be coming from your vision statement and your mission statement, right? The vision statement can someone just share like what's the difference between the vision statement and the mission statement as you recall it? Go ahead, Aurora.
Um, I was gonna say that I think the vision statement is more of like what you envision or like picture your business to be like a perception of what you want it to be, and mission is what you want for your business like to evolve into or be for your community.
Okay. Okay. Very, 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 very close. Um, Go ahead. And I see Itchy put it, vision is your main plan to show people. Who else? N- Nebia? Nebia?
Yeah. Yeah, so I believe that a mission statement is what your company is like doing to like reach your goal, and they're like working towards it right now. But like the visual is just what they're imagining, and they're gonna try to do it, but the mission is like what they're currently working on.
Well put. Yes. Yes. The mission is definitely like closer to your current, your day to day. Michael?
Yeah, I was thinking that like the mission statement is kind of like a future goal is what you're trying to achieve in like the future, your overarching like future goal. And then I think that your mission statement is kind of like your purpose for the company, like the purpose, the services or products that you're like putting out.
I think you said mission twice. Wait, wait, do
I'm
you mean to
sorry.
say
Sorry, yeah,
the
yeah.
mission second? Okay.
That was the first one, yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. Nehemiah, you're oh you're on mute, Nehemiah.
Do you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. A vision statement is like what you hope to achieve in the future, and a mission statement is what your company is doing right now.
Yes, yes. Awesome. Yes. So yeah, definitely think vision down the road, mission present day. Is a good way to sum it up. And Nehemiah, sounds like you had the notes there. Awesome. All right. So and then the business model canvas is the framework, right? So you can say the business model canvas is a framework to get you started, right? Getting your ideas out of your head and starting to get some practical uh, 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 knowledge on paper, right? Because that's usually the hardest part. Like, where do I start, right? So the business model canvas is going to help you get some practical knowledge out of your head so you know what to start with. All right, so this here is a video by a gentleman named Simon Sinek, and I share this every year because he breaks down the concept of how you inspire action, right? So when you frame up your business and you're ready to start getting customers, the first impression is everything, right? Like when you see a business for the first time, you see an ad or someone tells you about something, or maybe you try something, right? Maybe you're reading about it. That first impression is really crucial, right? Because it can be the difference between you saying, "Yeah, I'll spend some money on that," or I'll ask someone to help me get that, or whatever the case is, versus you being like, not interested. So the way that you communicate about your business is very important, and this video highlights that. So just gonna play it. I'll stop it. I'm only gonna play about 2 minutes or so, but I just want you guys to take note on well, the screenshot here, the what he calls the golden circle. Take note on this, and this is referring to how you communicate about your business, right? So kind of what are you telling the world about your business when it's time, and how do you structure what you're telling them?
The how do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet, they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight, and the Wright brothers beat them to it? There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery. And this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world worked, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this: we make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains
All right, I'll pause it there. It's a really great video. I actually have the link in the Google class. But have you guys seen this before? Has anyone seen this before? What do you think about it? Does it translate well? Does it make sense? What's one thing that stood out? Oh, Catherine, you said you did see this before? What's one thing that stood out here from this video? Gotcha. Okay. Excel?
I think one thing that stood out in the video was when he said, people know what they do and how they do it, but very few people know why they do it. Because, what I think is most people, they want to like have a business, but they don't know why they want to have the business. Like they just like have the outline and everything, but they don't know why they want to have the business. Like he said, like they don't know like the purpose of the business. They just like wake up and go to work just to go to work or just to like earn the money, but like they don't know why they want to have the business, or like they can't really look back and be like, oh, I did this and I want to remember for this, basically.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing, breaking that down. Nabia?
Yeah, so I believe that Apple uses the way of like reversing the order of benefits for business. So they just reverse and put the words in like another order to talk about it, and that like catches the attention of the people because they always want to try out something new, something better for themselves. So they know the product is worth for them. So that really stood out to me during the whole video.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing. And I'll share one of my I worked at Apple for 7 years. I saw this video much later, but one of the first things they told us in the retail store was, we're not trying to force anything on anybody. Talk to them, see what they need, and then give them what's appropriate, right? So they approach everything in a different way, right? And what I want to call out for this is for you guys, to what Excel had called out and Abia, take a long time and think about your why, right? And when you get to the end of this course, even to do your elevator pitch, start with that. Start with your why. It's a good practice, because you personalize it, right? You humanize your business, right? If you're just starting with the product, even though it might be great, it's a much higher bar to win someone over based on your product or based on your service, especially if there's a lot of competition. If you have something truly unique, okay, you have a great advantage, right? And you could kind of skip the line and say, hey, nobody else in the world has this thing or can do this service. That's unique. However, oftentimes you have to find some advantage, and that advantage could be as simple as starting with the why, your inspiration. This is what brought me to this idea or this purpose or this mission, right? What is the story here, right? And then how do you go about doing your thing, and what is it that you want us to partake in? So I love sharing this one because it's definitely good to think about as you transition from putting your business thoughts on paper to now telling other folks about your business. And it could be general folks, meaning just customers, right? The why might be in a social media post, or it might be on your website, might be whatever you use to catch people's eyes first, or it might be you talking to folks who maybe invest in your business, right? So good thought to have on how to inspire um, uh, people to partake in your business. All right. Sorry about this. All right. So, entrepreneur, defined as a person who organizes and operates a business or businesses, taking on greater than normal financial risks to do so. This loaded all at once. I did mean to ask you guys how you would define an entrepreneur first, but essentially it's that risk part, right? The entrepreneur is taking all the risk, right? So that risk could be time, that risk could be financial, right? You're putting yourself, at the mercy of this business idea that you're trying to make a real thing, right? And whether it's money that you borrowed from the bank or money that people donated or money you worked for and you saved up, you might have just saved up money to get what you needed to get started, right? It is a risk because it's not guaranteed to work, right? So that is the path that entrepreneur takes. But these tools that we're giving you should help you be more prepared for success, right? So literally having your business model, having your value proposition, focusing on communication that's going to inspire, these all help to give you a better chance of success. Does anyone know who this is? Damon John? If you know Damon, drop a D in the chat. You seen him somewhere? We don't know Damon John? Does anyone watch Shark Tank? There you go, Itchy. Gotcha. Yep. Shark Tank. So Damon John is on the show Shark Tank. He was one of the original sharks. His background is, he started a clothing brand, and the clothing brand was called FUBU, For Us By Us, and he and his friends literally were making the initial clothing in his grandmother's, I think it was his grandmother's basement. Grandmother or mother, one of the two. But when he got his first big order, so when you make clothes, right, and you're making it yourself, right, you can only sell what you make. So the next step was to get a larger order. So his clothing got a lot of popularity, and a large store chain was like, hey, we want to place a large order for FUBU, but you need to deliver like 10,000 pieces of clothes. So there's like no way he's going to be able to make 10,000 articles, in his basement. So his grandmother refinanced the house, right? Put the house up to get him the money he needed to make the clothing, right? And that's like, real quick origin story. So after that, the clothing sold well and they continued to grow, and that business made him his first million, right? And he was able to go from there and start other businesses. So this is Damon John. And that all came from a lot of grinding. So we talk about the entrepreneurial path. It is a grind. It is a lot of work. So what would you say? You could drop it in the chat. What would you say is the single most important quality of a successful entrepreneur? From your opinion, what's a quality, or what you think is a top quality that makes a successful entrepreneur? Risk-taking, integrity, yep. Resilience, determined, the IQ, consistent. Reliability, leadership, passion for your business and job, absolutely. Being purposeful, patience. I like that one too, because things don't happen overnight, and you got to keep on working. For me, I think the theme of some of the things you guys said is, for me, it's persistence, right? Time management is so important. I was just talking to my wife today and about how I get distracted and go all over the place. So yeah, so these are all great qualities to have, and I actually have a list of qualities that I'll share later in the course, or it might be in the advanced cohort. But the reason I want to talk about the qualities of an entrepreneur is because it, like a lot of things that are hard in life, right? You have to prepare yourself mentally ahead of time. Who here has gone through something like, learned a new skill like music, or joined a sport and then learn how to, like, who has done any of those things? Music, sports, or Michael, which one were you into? Music, sports?
I mean, both. I mean, I play saxophone right now in the jazz band. I've been in band class for a couple years. I've also been in track and field. I played sprinting and pole vault, and I also did lacrosse.
Awesome. Wow. So in those, which of them was the hardest for you to get started with?
I think pole vault, because I think it was so like it was something like extremely new.
Mhm.
It was like a new technique. It was a new like type of training. So I think like, but I enjoyed it like a lot, you know?
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Milena?
Okay, so um, I've been in softball and it was hard at first, but then I eventually learned how to play it. So yeah.
Awesome. So you were persistent. Awesome, awesome. Excel?
I played the piano and also the guitar, but I dropped the guitar. And I feel like the piano was really, really hard because of course you have to learn like a lot of like sheet music and stuff like that. And me personally, I don't like learning that, but I had to. So I feel like you said, being persistent, I just kept going.
Awesome. Yeah, I applaud you because I definitely dropped out of my piano and guitar, which is now just hanging up back there. Thanks for sharing. Ali?
I did softball for most of my childhood. I did competitive dancing. I did soccer, karate. I was in choir and then I joined band. Used to play the piano, the trumpet, and I tried the drums for a bit, but it was okay.
Okay. Which of those things was your favorite, like that you still kind of keep up with?
Well, at the moment, I'm in a women's choir, an auditioned women's choir, but if I could go back, I would probably do softball all over again because that probably was the thing that brought me to my leadership programs that I am now.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Snigdha?
Yeah, so I sing, I dance. Um, what else do I do? I used to play the violin, but I quit because things got busy. And I used to play the harmonium. It's kind of like a piano. Um,
Mm,
I did do the drums for like 1 month. Yeah, that's basically it.
so thank you for sharing. Yeah, and Kendall, I see you did sports. Yeah, so think on all these things, right? And think about these experiences when you know, if you do choose to go down the route of starting your own business and being an entrepreneur, think about the kind of the input, right? For you to get better in something new, there were times when you just weren't getting it, right? It just wasn't working out, right? You had to breathe different, you had to move your hand different, you had to do something different until you got a feel for it, right? Entrepreneurship or running a business and getting it right is similar in certain ways where it's like, yes, you know, the more information you have and the more prepared you are, the better your chances of success. But there's still going to be some figuring out to do. Um, on average, uh, this is not for every business, but on average, new businesses take 2 to 5 years to actually become a successful business. That's not for every business. Some of them, you know, there's thought definitely a wide spectrum, but if you average it all out, they say it's 2 to 5 years before you become a successful business. And within that 5 year period, a lot of businesses fail, right? They're just like, didn't work. So, um, you know, it's not easy, right? Definitely not easy, but it is doable, right? And we're going to talk about different ways where you can, you know, navigate that journey. Um, and we touched on it on some of it already, right? Your network is going to be very, very, very crucial. Your mindset, right? Being prepared to fail and try again. So some businesses, they actually, another word you should write down is pivoting, right? So pivoting is you had an initial direction you were going to take the business, like, man, this isn't working. So you might change direction a little bit and say, all right, let me try doing it this way. Let me try doing it that way, right? I'll tell a quick story. Um, Well, I'll reflect on a business we talked about briefly, Amazon, right? They sold books first. Does anyone know what actually made Amazon transition from selling books to getting into like technology? So what it was Amazon built a technology solution that they were using for all the massive amounts of books they were selling. The solution that they built, right, was the demand for efficiency. That was part of it, and Catherine, that was definitely part of it. Yeah. So as they were building this solution, they realized, hey, no one else built this solution, right? They call it Amazon Web Servers, aka AWS. So they built a solution that helped to put a lot of the business operations on what we refer to as the cloud, right? We would just call it the cloud, but it's web servers. So that business blew up for them. That's now the most profitable thing that Amazon does is they sell Amazon Web Services to other businesses. So small and large, right? Netflix, the government. It's like a lot of businesses, if you're a business, you're using Amazon Web Services. So they didn't start out saying we're going to be a web service company, but they pivoted because they saw that they built something that no one else built. There was a company called Slack. Some of you may have heard of it or not, but Slack was the result of another companies building something for themselves to chat, and they were like, hey, this actually chat's really good, let us sell it to other people. So there's a good amount of companies that came out of pivoting, first thing not working out. So another term I write down is fail fast. Fail fast. So what that means is try things out, be brave, try it out, see if it works, but have a plan, right? If it doesn't work and you validate that it's not going to work, it's better that you shut that down and try something else or try it a different way, right? So just some thoughts there and some terms. All right, so we're gonna take a break, and in the second half, we're gonna get into the P&L. We're gonna get into the profit loss statement. This is a very common statement for any business. You're gonna have to file taxes, and they need to know what was your profit and what was your loss. So we're gonna take a 10-minute break. I'm actually on time today. Oh, sorry, before the P&L, we're gonna go over the value proposition canvas, and then we're gonna go over the P&L. But all right, take the 10-minute break, and we'll be back for part 2.
Yep, so everyone stay in the Zoom call. Just turn your camera off and mute yourself, but you can stay in the Zoom call. Thank you.
Wait, look, yeah. Better than lemon, I'm ready to eat. I got an attitude up like easy. I had to blow up the lab like Vb. I got a problem with friends, no Phoebe. All of you boys low key wanna beat me. Come on and game me, they running like CC. Come on and game me, they running like A.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. All right. Who was able to who got started with their business model canvas? Syndrome. Did anyone have any questions about the business model canvas? If you do, later on, don't hesitate to email. Nabia, you got a question, or you just saying that you got started on it? Okay. All right, we can circle back on that. All right, so the last part of the business model canvas was touching on value proposition. Value proposition canvas is meant to help you get your value, the idea of what value you're bringing onto paper. So there is a exercise, there is a document in the classwork that kind of goes through that a little bit more. So similar to the business model canvas, there is the section on value proposition canvas, and there's a link in a PDF as to how to do it and what you're doing. Summarize it though, you're looking at two sides of it, right? So your business is the square and the circle is the customer, right? Oh, the classroom code. Let me drop that in. I'm gonna drop it here real quick. Talking about the Google Class, right? So on the customer side, the circle side, aka the customer segment, the gains are the things that the customer gains from your service or from your business. The pains are the things that maybe they might not like. All right. So and then the customer jobs is what do they do? How do they interact with your business? So Michael, I'm going to use your business as an example. Empanadas and smoothies, right? So let's just talk it out real quick, right? So what would be a customer gain for the empanada and smoothie business?
I mean, I guess it would be like they'd gain the food, the culture, the smoothie, the health gain.
And then what would be a pain point? Well, some pain points that could exist. Not that it does, but some things you want to avoid.
I want to avoid like trying to be like other brands or trying to be like other like companies that already exist. I want to be my own like company.
That's good. The customer segment, though, the pains, we want to look at things that relate directly to the customer, right? So a pain could be like the line is too long, or you never have the empanada that I want to have, right? You never had the vegetarian one,
Always
or
stop.
I ate it and I got sick. Right? So these could all be customer pain points directly related to your business. And then the customer jobs is like, what does the customer do in their interaction with your business, right? They order food, right? Like it could be super simple, right? They order food and then they pay for it. That's their job. Then on the other side, it's like, what are gain creators, right? So for your empanada business, what things can you do that gives them the gains that you just mentioned, right? Pain relievers, what things can you do that relieves those potential pain points, right? So if the line is too long or people are saying you don't have the empanadas I want, okay, you got to figure out a way to make the service quicker, to make it so that they won't be a line. Ali, okay. So those are the pain relievers, and then the products and services meet what the customers, needs are, right? So I know that was really quick, but that's basically how you use the value proposition canvas. It's like you're writing out the customer segment first, and then you're going on the business side and making sure you're meeting the items on the customer segment. Any questions about that? All right. And again, in the classroom, and Ali, I see you have an issue with the account here. If it's a .edu, if it's a school account, it actually won't work for that. Let us know if you're using that or if you have a different email we could use for you. So yeah, so doing this helps take you from your business model canvas phase through your value proposition phase to now you can now put together a business plan, a basic business plan when you're done with this. And we won't touch on business plan really until advanced, but these are foundational elements to get the thoughts and ideas out of your head or to help you kind of really clearly lay out, hey, what is it that I'm giving to people, right? All right. Nabia, could you expand on that thought?
I think she's having tech issues. She may have dropped from the call.
Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, I don't see her anymore. Wait, no, I think she's back.
No, she's here, but she's been using different devices.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, we could follow up, Nabia. Oh, does the project need to be due by today? No, so the business model canvas and value proposition canvas, you went ahead, we are asking you hand these in by the last day of the fundamentals course. So you have time to work on it, to read through the links and fill it out. You can download this and print it out if you want. You can write down customer segment and just write down gains, pains, and customer jobs if you want. You don't have to do it exactly in the visual that it is on screen. You could just write down the titles. So there's a customer segment and the value proposition side. Ideally, you want to email it to us, info@let's.soar. I'll drop the email in here. You can email it to us. All right. All right. So I'm gonna move on. So I did mention the characteristics that I had a list here. So these are like a lot of these you guys said. These are some that resonated with me. That I believe kind of I think you guys mentioned all of these in one way or the other. So just characteristics of a successful entrepreneur, in summary, you need to be multifaceted, right? And another thing is sometimes you might need a teammate, you might need a partner, right? A co-founder, right? Maybe there are some things that you're like, man, I am just not that creative, let's say, right? But maybe the business needs some creativity, right? So sometimes you got to figure out, all right, who would be a good person or persons to co-found with and do it together. There's a saying, I have a saying for a lot of things now. I guess I'm getting old. There's a saying, alone you go faster, together you go farther, right? And that's basically leaning into that idea of connecting with others. And all right, so 7:34, I do want to jump into the P&L so that way we can really get some time to solidify this concept. Does anyone, A, do you know what a P&L is already? B, have you seen a P&L? Okay, thinking it's pretty new for everyone here. All right. Profit and loss. Yep. Yep. So P&L is your profit and loss statement. It is one of the common business statements that you will need to make once you are like officially a business. So what I mean by officially a business is you have registered with the government as a business, right? Registering with the government is actually pretty easy. You get what's called your employee number, right? You go to irs.gov, you get your EIN, and you register with the IRS, aka the federal government, and then you register with the state. And once you do those two things, the IRS is free, the state, there's a charge. You get a certificate from the state, and you're now an official business. You can open a business bank account, right? Once you do those things, you now need to report your profit and your losses, right? When you file taxes. So the government knows how much money to tax you for. Let's see. My Windows reset here for some reason. You guys still hear me though, right? All right. So the reason you have to file you have to do your profit and loss statement so the government applies the right amount of taxes to your business. However, as a business, you actually have the most amount of tax breaks available to you. So that is a good thing. Who here has heard the term tax write-off or writing it off as a business write-off? Michael, you heard that term? And Allie? Itchy, could you share what do you understand about that term, writing it off, or tax write-off, when it comes to business?
I'm not pretty sure like if I'm right, because I have heard like I kind of heard it really early on, but isn't it just like a tax reducement, and like basically cut off the tax from your that you have to pay off to like the government from your
Yeah,
industry?
that's basically it. So the way the government taxes individuals and businesses is, the more money you make, the more they're going to tax you, right? So when you write off something, that means you're taking it out of your profit. You're saying, I didn't make, like, I technically made 100,000, but I had to buy this car for my business, which cost me 50,000. So I only got to keep 50,000 because I had to buy this car. So now the government won't tax you on 100,000; they'll tax you on 50,000. Can we find the slides shown in Google Classroom? I will add these slides to the Google Classroom for you guys. That is a great question. But so that's the full circle on profit loss statement, well, the reason you need it, what the government does, right, and taxes, writing it off. So, but the basis of the statement, there's a few components that make up the statement, right? So there are these four basic components, right? Revenue, the total amount of money your business is making. And when we say total, we mean before you subtract anything, right? So if you sold t-shirts and you sold them for $10 and you sold 10 of them, right? That summary would be your revenue, right? So $100 is your revenue, right? Cost of goods sold is the cost of making your product, right? The material, labor, so on and so forth. So in this same example where you were selling your t-shirts for $10, how much did it cost you to get these t-shirts made, right? It might have cost you $1 and you're doing great. It might have cost you $5, it might have cost you $8, whatever it is, that's your cost of goods, right? The expenses are the indirect costs you incur to run the business. So your cost of goods might be, let's say, $5. You built a website, you had to pay for hosting of this website. That website might have cost you $30 to get. And then, whatever other things you might have paid for would be under your expenses, right? Maybe you're registering your business with the state, right? $150, that's an expense. So anything that you spend on the business for the business is considered an expense. So the net profit is at the bottom of this formula, right? So you have your revenue, and then you're subtracting your cost of goods, you're subtracting your expenses, and that's where you get your net profit. What's left over after you subtract the cost of your product and your expenses? That's your net profit. Does that make sense? Any questions around the profit and loss statement categories? Pretty good. All right. So if your business is simple, that's kind of it, right? You can do your P&L yourself. You get an Excel sheet and you track these things. You get a business checking account, a business credit card. Some of these accounts actually track it for you. So you can just download it at the end of the month if you are doing everything through those accounts. Let's say if you have a business checking account and a business debit card, and you do all your business through that one vehicle of that checking account and your business debit card, then you literally have, in a sense, your P&L there, because you'll see how much money you made, right? When you get money, it goes into that account, and when you have to pay for something, it comes out of that account, right? So that's one way to kind of keep it flat and simple. And then let's look at the statement, right? Let's look at an example of the statement here. I apologize, it's probably hard to read, and so I'll just kind of go over it here. So the first level here is the income, and under income they have sales, services, and other income. So any money you made will be considered business income, right? So your top line will be all the money you made. In the middle, all the expenses, right? And literally anything for the business here. So on this list, they have accounting, advertising costs, assets. So an asset might be paper, right? It could be anything. Bank charges, depreciation. Want to make us pause on depreciation here. So depreciation applies to items that you would have purchased for the business that might have been a large purchase, but now it's losing value, right? So let's say your t-shirt business is booming and you got like this $20,000 setup to make some amazing looking t-shirts, right? You have the silk press machines, you got multiple of them, you got embroidery machines to put on patches, and you have your whole basement filled up with these machines. After you buy equipment like that, they lose their value, right? You might have paid 5,000 for one, 2,000 for another, and so on and so forth. But but the government actually gives you credit for the value lost on what you purchased or to do your business. Same thing with a car, right? And that's how businesses are able to write off their car purchases, right? You might have purchased a van, let's say, to deliver your products because you're driving around to deliver to customers. That van is going to have depreciation. Any questions about depreciation? Maybe so what about the taxes applying? So you're talking about taxes when you file at the end of the year or taxes on your sales? End of the year. Yeah, so you would need to submit this statement at the end of the year as this will be one of the statements that you submit, and then they will look at your taxes. So just from a high level, they're going to look at your profit, right? What was your actual profit at the end of the year? So your accountant will do their work to say, here's the difference between your revenue and here's where you profited. And typically, if things are done right, they're looking at the bottom line number, the profit number instead of the top line number. So end of the year, you will go to your accountant, your certified tax professional, and you will give them your statements, right? You give them your profit loss statement if needed. You give them receipts for the things you purchased, right? So whatever machines you purchase, if you purchase a vehicle, you'll give them all these receipts. You give them your profit loss statement. They'll go through and validate everything and submit to the government your file your taxes, as they say, and then hopefully you have enough write-offs in here to where you don't owe much or you don't owe anything. Electricity, hire of equipment, insurance, interest. So interest refers to how much so you pay if you took out a loan or you had a business credit card, the interest on the loan, the interest on the money that your business borrowed, you can actually put that as an expense and right, and that could be another write-off as well. Motor vehicle, office supplies, postage and printing, rent. So if you're renting a building, you're renting a car, a bus, whatever it is, that's a write-off. Repairs and maintenance, stationery, subscriptions, telephone, training, seminars, wages, and costs. So all of these things are expenses, right? And you just need to be aware of this. So to oversimplify it a little bit, when you are running a business or doing business, you want to record everything you're spending because these things are all expenses for your business, and you want to record that so that it reduces your profit when you report it to the government. Ms. C put in the chat, yes, even office space in your home can be added as a write-off item. Definitely true. And if you're using your basement to make t-shirts, that whole basement is now square footage. That's part of the business that you can write off. Any questions about the profit loss statement? All right. So I did used to have an exercise where I had you guys kind of create a profit loss statement. but I moved that to the advanced cohort. In the last few minutes, we have 7:46 now. I wanted to take some time to circle back because someone had a question around the business model canvas. That was Nabia. Nabia, you here? I know you're
Yes.
having some connectivity issues. Okay, awesome. All right. So I'm going to put a pin on profit loss. We are going to go deeper into this in the advanced cohort. We have a course on cash flow where you guys actually are going to create your own profit loss statement. But for tonight, I just want to introduce it. You can look it up. You can, look at some basic examples. But tonight, I just wanted you to get the understanding that you do need to record what you're spending. It's very important so that way you can report accurately. But most importantly, you want these write-offs. So you shouldn't be doing anything for your business and not spending anything for your business that you don't record, because the more expenses you record, the more you can write off, right? And reduce the amount of taxes you owe to the government. All right. So also keep your receipts. If you're buying things for your business, keep your receipts, right? At minimum, you want to have a business checking account at minimum. Gotcha. Okay, Namian. So you're gonna have a class later that goes over banking, but I just wanted to reiterate from a high level, right? To officially start your business, you're going to irs.gov. You're going to get your EIN. You're going to register with the state, right? So you can go to nj.gov, or you can register in a different state. Actually, there's a good amount of benefits depending on what your business is and registering in other states. So fun fact, you can register your business in any state in the United States of America. You just need to have a registered agent there. There are companies that do that, like Taylor Brands and LegalZoom. But you register with the state and you get that state seal that your business is officially a business. And basically that just means you pay the state money. Typically it's not too crazy. It's like $150. Depends on the state. It could be 100, 150, or a little more, or a lot more. And then with that state seal, you can open your business bank account, right? So your EIN from IRS and your state seal, you can go and open your business bank account. So it's fairly easy. I was kind of surprised how easy it was to start a business to get my business bank account. So doing that gives you at least the official place to collect funds for your business and to spend from. So just wanted to reiterate that. All right. So switching gears back to the business model canvas. Right. So questions. What questions did you guys have around the business model canvas? Was it just an overall, you wanted me to go over the whole thing, or are there specific parts of this that you had questions on? Go ahead, Aurora. Aurora. Sorry, I'm like rolling all the letters together.
Yeah, I had a question on the customer segments area. I wasn't sure if it was like what was it about? To the right.
Yeah, so customer segments are that's defining who are your customers. What was the business idea you had?
I wanted to have a bakery business or a catering business for my bakery.
Gotcha. So segments of customers will be like, where are they? Who are they? How old are they? Right? So your bakery, it's like, is it going to be, if you're doing catering, right? It's slightly different from if you were trying to do like a set location. right? But let's go with the idea of you're going to have your bakery in a specific location. So your customer segments could be children, young children, teens, and adults, right? And the reason you would make these segments is you then think about what do these different segments really want from my bakery. So young children might want sweets, let's say, right? Teens might want something that eat after school. So you might want something that's a little more filling. And then the adults might want a mixture of all things, right? So defining who you see come into your business is your customer segments. Do you have one segment? Do you have 3, 5 segments? You know, that you just think about it and you just write down like, all right, kids, will babies be getting things from the bakery? Maybe not babies, you know, and you just write down your segments, who they are. Because then that is going to feed into the other sections. So value proposition, for example, will be you would align your value propositions to your customer segments. What do the kids value from my bakery? What would teens value from the bakery? What would, you know, single moms value, dads, right? These could all be different customer segments for your bakery because you're AKA a target demographic. Some businesses are going to have a lot of segments, and some businesses will have few or one segment. And then the customer relationships, it's like how do you connect with the customers, right? Are you just putting up a sign on a window because your bakery's on Main Street, so people just see fresh baked goods and that's the relationship? Are you going a step further? Do you have a social media page where you're sharing about your bakery? Do you take part in community events? Hey, I'm going to donate free bakery items once a week to a school or to a church or somewhere to kind of generate that. So the relationship is saying like this is kind of something that you're doing consistently, whether you're posting, you have a website, you send mail out, you send flyers in the mail, you put out. How do you communicate and stay in touch with your customers? Channels will be, how does your product or service get to the end users? So you mentioned bakery, which could be stationary. So it'll be, they're coming in, they're walking into the bakery. That's the channel, right? Or if you're a caterer, it's like, no, like we can show up wherever you pay us to show up. So that's another channel there. Revenue streams. So how is your business making money, right? Items you sell in the bakery itself. Each item is going to be a stream of revenue, or let's say each category. So some bakeries literally just have things that come out of the oven. Some bakeries also have an expensive latte machine. So I can go in there and get a latte, cappuccino, right? So I might go to the bakery that has the latte machine because I really like lattes, right? And this other bakery just has bread and stuff. Some bakeries actually don't have full-on cakes. They have like bread, croissants, and kind of like daily things. But what about birthday cakes or celebration cakes, right? So all of these things could be different streams of revenue for your bakery. And expanding that to any business, like the empanadas that Michael's doing, right? He has the empanadas, but you might say, you know what goes great with that? He said smoothies. So maybe chips fits in there somewhere, right? So revenue streams are like, what are the things, the categories that your business is going to be making money in? Value propositions we touched on, but that's the value that you're bringing to your customers. Cost structure. So the cost structure is kind of, the P&L kind of leans into that, but it's how are you structuring what you have to pay for to run your business, right? Ideally, you want to have your items pricing so that it pays for itself. So if it costs you $2 to bake, to bake a loaf of bread, you can't sell that bread for $2 and expect to make money, right? Because canceling it out. So if your bread costs $2 to make, you want to charge like $6, $8, $10 for the bread. So that way you pay for the bread, you get a profit, you pay for the expenses. That's all involved in it, right? And then you have some money that you made, which is your profit. You want to structure your costs in a way that you're making a profit. So that's your cost structure from a high level. But how do you do that, right? How do you actually make the money, right? Is it just off of the one item you're selling? Is it off of multiple items you're selling, right? Are you making money in other ways? The higher the price, the less customers, though. Yeah, I mean, Nabia, that's a great, great topic, right? Because you want to find a sweet spot. So from like a just quick one-liner, you want to look at the competition, see what they're charging. You want to be competitive, right? You can be competitive in multiple ways, but two of the top ways you be competitive is your quality, right? And your value, right? So quality, when I say quality, it's like how good is your service compared to the competition, right? So if the competition charges $10 for a loaf of bread and it tastes but your loaf of bread is $15, but everybody's like, oh my God, this is the best bread I have ever had in life, right? You probably could get away charging that $15 for the bread since it's so good. The value is so good for the quality. So it really depends. You sometimes have to test pricing to see, can I get away with this price? Do I need to lower it? Do I need to have a sale? As you all probably know, if you think about it, there's certain companies that always have a sale, right? Always have a sale. There's never not a sale. So sometimes the illusion of getting a deal is a good value proposition too. At the same time, wouldn't it be better if you still sell at a low price so there's more sales? It really depends. So that low price still needs to cover your costs and expenses and leave you with money at the end of the day. So you can't be so low that you're not making money because then you won't have a business for very long. So you want to find some kind of in between. And that could come from getting items at a lower price, getting your materials at a lower price, getting a better deal on that, getting a partner that, let's say, makes dough. And you're like, hey, if you give me the dough at a discount, I'll, I'll cut you into 10% of the profit. There's ways that businesses work out things to make it make sense. Would you want to adjust your supply or the demand overall or your price? It really depends. It really depends. So adjusting your supply is typically, if you have a high demand, you need more. So it's really depending on how things are selling. Just to finish these last few sections, we have to wrap up, but key activities. What is your business doing primarily? Why are people coming to your business is your key activities. Key resources. What does your business need to operate, right? What do you rely on? You might need to have a website. You might need to have a place to operate from. You might need, machines. Key partnerships, again, partnerships are who are you dependent on or working with to make your business successful, right? So the bakery might have a partnership with the grocery store or something like that, where they promote your products for you, or a restaurant, right? You might get talked to a small business owner that has a restaurant, say, hey, what if you exclusively use my croissants for your appetizers? And you put a little sign up that says croissants by Aurora, right? That could be a partner, right? That helps to promote your business, and their customers are happy because they have great croissants and everybody wins. So just a quick overview there. We do have to call it, but next week, we're going to go into applications of business and applications of entrepreneurship. Chef Andre is going to be leading that. So Chef Andre literally is a chef. He's an entrepreneur. He runs his own catering business at Aurora. You guys would definitely love Chef Andre, his story and mission. He works with high schoolers. They do national competitions. There's a lot there with Chef Andre. I also have entrepreneurial ventures, but Chef Andre, primarily his bread and butter is fully entrepreneurship. So it's not like a side thing for him. This is his life. Um, so we'll call it there. I want to leave some time for the survey, and we have not an assessment, but I'll hand it over to my wife to take over for now. The Mentimeter,
All right.
yes.
Hello, 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 scholar. Thank you, scholars. Thank you, Professor Jay, for a wonderful class. Hello, everyone. I'm Latoya. I am going to share the screen, and we're going to do our assessment for today. As I shared earlier, Thursdays are going to be our assessment days, so just bear with me. I don't want to bring up the screen and give you guys any clues. But go ahead and I see you guys are getting in there. Thank you very much. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. So this is just going to be an assessment to check your knowledge of everything that was shared tonight. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, what makes a business a literal business? So go ahead and answer that to the best of your abilities. Yes, the revenue. So we added the word literal in there. But yes, people do make a business as well. All right, I see one more player has entered. Yep, go ahead and join as soon as you can. What does the U.S. Small Business Administration consider a large business? If you were taking notes, when Professor JR was going over this earlier, I had dropped a hint in the chat and I said, maybe write this down. Excellent. Great job. So this is measuring how quick you answer as well as you having the correct answer. Okay, what is a mission statement? What is a mission statement? All right, answers are coming in. A purpose of a business. A purpose of business. Okay, what is a business model canvas used for? All right, to outline the fundamental building blocks of a business. What is an industry? Yes, a group of companies that compete with each other to sell products. Great job, guys. What is an entrepreneur? What is an entrepreneur? Yes, a person who organizes and operates a business, taking on some sort of financial risk. What is revenue? Yes, the total amount of money your business is making. All right, coming down to it, 8 out of 9. What is a P&L? All right, profit and losses. Okay, we're down to the wire. Last question. Okay, no problem, Allie. Everyone do your best. Just a way to see what you all gained tonight. What is the value proposition canvas? Okay, a framework that ensures a business is aligned with customer values. Need some music. Da, 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 da. All right, Snikta, great job, great job. All right, thank you all so much for participating in that. If you just hang on for 1 second, we are going to share the survey for tonight. We value your feedback so we can ensure that our program is phenomenal for you and your experience. So thank you so much. I'm going to put that in the chat. And as soon as you are done with that survey, you are free to exit the call. As I shared, we weren't going to hold you too much longer. Just wanted to do our assessment on Thursdays, will be our assessment days. So thank you all. We will be back here next Tuesday, as Professor Jay shared, with Professor Andre for applications of business, 6:30 Tuesday, same place, same time. And be sure to be on the lookout for an email with a reminder. Also, I'm going to be putting in the chat, if you haven't joined the WhatsApp group, please go ahead and do that so we can communicate with you for updates and reminders about class. I'm dropping that WhatsApp link in the chat as well. Please use that to join our group. But please fill out the survey, and when you are done, as I shared, you are welcome to exit the call.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Nick Doug. You too. Have a great evening. See you next
Everybody have a good
Tuesday.
night.
Bye.
Bye, Michael. Thanks for being here.
Good night.
Bye,
Have a good
Nabiha.
one.